Okay, this is about my 300th try of trying to make this video for how to use the app for a track owner. I've made the video before several times, and everyone I've shown it to says that it's a bit too complicated. I need to make it easier. And to do that, I've created a chart, and whether or not the chart works is dependent upon how good I am at making charts. So either way, let's get started. This app is basically to help people play Upland Racing, and you can see it in the bottom left-hand corner right now. It's a standalone thing. It's not part of Upland, and that may change in the future, or it may become useless in the future. Upland has told us that shortly they will be allowing us to choose the class of car that you get to, the lobby that you create will only have either one or two classes of cars, so you can prevent people from dominating races. Also, they say they're going to make the code open source, which I'm not really sure what that means, but it might make it easier for people to create apps like the one I've made that actually interact with the racing game. Right now, if anything that you do in my app doesn't get transmitted to the Upland Racing game and vice versa, I would like to try and capture the logs of the races, but right now I can't. I've asked to see if that's possible, but I haven't got a reply yet. So basically my app is a standalone billboard style thing, and you as you'll see, it's a little bit clunky, but it's the only way I can figure out how to do it. So anyways, let's get started. There's I made a chart which shows you how I perceive the app to work. For future events, which is a race that's going to occur in the future, you would, first of all, the track owner would create a race, and then they would send themselves an email reminder to say that I have created a race that's going to occur at some point in the future. Let's say it's Thursday next week at 6 p.m. and you want to remind yourself that you've actually promised everyone else that that's what you're going to do. You might set a reminder on your phone for that. The email basically is just for you to see that you've done that. The emails also, it's not an automatic thing. You actually have to press the button to send yourself an email. I didn't want to spam everybody, so if you're going to create 30 races in the future, you're going to get 30 emails. And so anyways, the once the track owner creates the future race in my app, in the Billboard app, the race will appear in the upcoming races screen, and the future race timer is set. And then that's pretty much all that happens at this point. You can't go into Upland and create a race that will occur in the future at the moment. That may be a thing in the future, but it's not available now. So all the races that you see in Upland in the racing app are current races. They're races that people have created now and they expect to be racing now. In the Billboard, you'll be able to create races that will occur in the future. So once the future time arrives, and race time is now, well, actually, first of all, the track owner, the guy who created, or the person that created the race, can arrive early. Let's say it's, instead of being now, it's Thursday at, let's say, 5 o'clock next week. And the race owner, the track owner, comes in and says, well, I'm here, I'm going to start the race early. They won't start the race, they'll create the lobby early. And if anybody wants to show up early and race, they can, is the thinking that I have, at least anyway. So let's say they arrive, somewhere between an hour and 10 minutes early. And they can then go to Upland, create the race, create the lobby that the race will occur in, and then come back to my app and enter the private code for that private race. This basically starts a counting up from 0 to 60 minutes. I felt that if a race creator creates a race and no one enters for an hour, it's likely that no one will enter. The race that you create in Upland, when you create the race, it's sitting in a lobby waiting for a second person to join. And I don't know how long it will wait. I know it'll wait at least 30 minutes because I've waited that long. But any more than that, I have no idea. But let's say it'll wait an infinite amount of time. What it's waiting for is the second player to show up. As soon as the second player shows up, the timer starts. So, and I believe the timer is set to 5 minutes. I haven't tested that either, but I'm pretty sure it used to be 7 minutes, but I think it's been knocked down to 5. So anyways, as I said, the track owner comes to my app at around the time they said they were going to start the race. They could be a little early or a little late, doesn't really matter. If they haven't created a private code, they haven't started a race in Upland, the app will automatically bump the race from the upcoming races screen to the current races screen when the time that they said they were going to race appears. So it'll jump from upcoming events to current events when the time appears. And the timer will start counting up to 60 minutes. If the track owner forgets that they've created a race and they never actually show up, after 60 minutes, the race will disappear. And it'll just be like it never happened. And but if the track owner does show up either a little bit early, a little on time, or a little bit late, they will then go and create the race in Upland, get the private code, and come back to the app and enter the private code. Now, again, the race doesn't start when they enter the private code. It's just resets the counter to another 60 minutes. The only time that they will start the race is when the second racer enters the lobby and the Upland timer starts counting down, or up, depending on how you look at it. So once the second racer enters the lobby, the track owner has to come back to the app, push the start race button, and then this app will start counting down 5 minutes. Once the 5 minutes is up, the race disappears from the current event page. So no one else will be able to join that race. The 5 minutes is so that other people can enter the race. If, let's say, only one other person enters the race, then the race will start in Upland anyway. There is no way, once the timer starts in Upland, you cannot abandon the race. It'll just start after 5 minutes. So even if I were to make it able for you to reset the timer here, it means nothing because this timer never resets. You could continually reset this if no second racer ever enters the lobby. But I'm thinking that if after an hour you've decided, like you should have decided, that no one's going to join your race. I'm going to try and add a component to the app at some point where people will be able to say, I am going to join this race. So if you create a race in the future, people could log in and say, I'm going to join that race. So you'll know at least like 1 or 2 or 10 people want to join. I haven't created that yet, but I'm not even sure this app will work for racing the way it is now. I know the app works, but I don't know if it's a useful tool. So anyways, that's pretty much what it is for track owners. You can either create a current race immediately, or you can create a race in the future that then becomes a current race when the time appears. I think it makes sense, and if it doesn't, just trying it once or twice should show you how it works. The one of the problems with Upland Racing is at the moment as a track owner is that you cannot create a race that you're not in. You have to be the person creating the race. You could get someone else to create the race for you, but that's not how I envision this working. Like that would be a player created race, not a track owner created race. And I have created another tab in the app that is for player created races. Or if you were to assign somebody as your racetrack manager, that's not you, it's not the owner of the track, that could also happen, but I would have to assign that person to be the track owner in this app, just so for how it works. So basically, like I said, we'll start again. My app is not connected to Upland at all. There's no connection one way or the other. The idea is that the track owner comes in and creates a future race at some point, or 10 or 20 or however many they want to create. Let's say they have a race once a week. Well, let's say there's 2 races once a week, one on Monday, one on Tuesday. They could enter all of them for the next couple of months at one time to let people see, oh, it's a weekly event that happens. They could send themselves an email reminder or not. It's a voluntary thing. Then when the race appears, or when the race time arrives, they show up, create a race in Upland, get the private code, enter the private code into the app, and then wait for the second racer to enter the lobby. Once that happens, they come back to the app and start the race counter. This starts counting down 5 minutes, and the Upland race starts counting down 5 minutes. Once the Upland timer reaches 0, the race starts, and once my app reaches 0, the race disappears. So it's fairly simple, and it's pretty straightforward as far as I can see. Now, as a player that's not a track owner, it's even easier. You would just go to the racing app, and you would find a race that you want to join in the future and send yourself an email reminder that that's a race you would like to join. If you're smart, you'll set the timer a couple of minutes early so that you can arrive a little bit early and then wait for the race to show up in the current race screen. Once that happens, you can click on the you can either just look at it in the list or click on the race, and it will allow you to copy the private code, which would then go to Upland, and you would enter the private code, and you would then be the second racer in the lobby, and the timer will start. Other people may or may not join after you. That's not your responsibility. So that's pretty much what I'm seeing when I'm thinking when I created the app. It's fairly simple for both players and track owners. And like I said, this is the track owner race section. The private or the public ordinary player races is a different tab altogether, and I'll make another video about that later. So now this is hopefully an example of how it will work using the app and the racing game. When you sign in, and I'm signed in as a track owner right now. I don't own a track in the game actually, but I'm just pretending. So what happens is you sign in, you get to the welcome screen, and you would hit the track races button. The track owners have the ability to create a race. Ordinary players won't see this create a race button, and instead of seeing how to create a race, they'll see a tab that says how to join a race. There are current and upcoming races. Right now there are neither, and so what we're going to do is create a race, and I'll show you a couple of different things that should happen if you, in the way, whatever way you want to create races in the future. So we're going to create a race, and it's going to be a future race. So I'm going to turn this switch on. When I turn this switch on, you'll see the private code change to a date, and the date is when you want the race to start. So now it shows the upcoming date. So upcoming race, and I'm going to choose a track, and the tracks that you're allowed to choose are the ones that you said that you are an owner of. If you tell me that you're the owner of Dante's Inferno and someone else is already that owner, I'm going to question what's going on, because there shouldn't be two owners of that same track. But in this case, these are the tracks that I have, that my player is pretending to own at the moment. And so I'm going to create a Dante's Inferno race. The vehicle that I'm going to choose is the vehicle I want everyone to be racing when we start the race. And this is where the problem exists in Upland at the moment. If I say I want everyone to drive a Series 4, there is no way of preventing people from driving whatever they want when they actually go to the Upland to join the race. They could still choose an S1R if they want. There's no way for me to prevent that. So what I'm thinking is that as the track owner and the first person in the race, you're the person creating the race, you will be able to keep track of what other vehicles are in the race as people join. And if someone joins with an S1R and you've set it to Series 4, the only option you have is to record that person's name and then send me an email, and I will ban them from using this app. Every race that you're going to create in here is a private race. So only people that you give out the private code to will be able to join those races. It's limited in that regard. And the only way they'll be able to find these races is through the app, unless you're posting it on some other thing as well. But if everybody just sticks to this app, then this is the only place that they can find that race, and then it's more of a controlled thing. So if someone comes in with an S1R, write down their name, send me the message, and I will ban them from this app. And because it's money that we're dealing with, it's not just fun. So when you are creating the app, or the race, just remember that you are not trying to win the race. You're trying to lose the race. You're going to throw the race, and I'll explain that in a minute too. But the idea is that you want other people to win. You have to, or you should be using the same vehicle they're using, but you don't want to win. You want people to come back and race on your track as much as they can. And especially in a contest of some sort, you don't want to come in first in your own races, because that looks bad. People won't join in the future. So the entry fee for this case, I'm going to use 5,000 UPX, and the date that I want the race to run. And I'm just going to make this like a few minutes in the future, just to show you what happens when the future date arrives. So right now it's 3/38 and January 14th. So I'm going to select January 14th. I'm going to choose 3:40. Just turned over to 39. So choose 40 and submit. Now it shows up here in the upcoming races tab. There's still nothing in current races, and I'll show you the rest of it in a minute. But right now it's 3:39, and the race is supposed to run at 3:40. So, or it's my job to create the race at 3:40. So this isn't going to be me showing you how to create a race in Upland. You should already know that by now, but I will do that in a bit. I just want to show you what happens when the upcoming race arrives, or the time for the upcoming race arrives. And it takes about between 2 and 10 seconds for the app to actually trigger. Data doesn't get sent through this constantly. There's a bit of a delay. I think it's up to 10 seconds. So now if we go to the current race, you'll see the race, it says race was created just now, and this counter is going to go up to 60 minutes. So now I'm going to I'll delete this one and we'll run another one. So I'm going to create an upcoming race, same track. We're going to choose a Series 4 again. This time we'll make it 4,000 UPX. And I'm going to make it so that it's at 6 o'clock today. Okay, so in the upcoming tab, you'll see that we now have a race that's running on Dante's Inferno for 4,000 UPX in an S4 class at 6 o'clock, like I said. To see more information about this race, you click on it, and it will actually show you the type of car, who owns the track, and what the track is, a thumbnail of the track, and then as much information as I can gather from Upland about this. So, like I said, it's Series 4, 4,000 UPX, and it's going to start at 6 o'clock today. This is an image that I've made from Google. I will be making Upland maps as time goes by. They won't be current, but they will at least show you the area on the map that the track runs on. Right now, all you can see is the start-finish line, the pit lane, or the pit building, actually. You have no idea, if you wanted to buy a property on that track, you have no idea where that is from the thumbnail. The thumbnail is distorted, as you can see. It's not actually that shape. It's more of a elongated thing. So it would be helpful for you to know what streets the race is actually running on. So if you wanted to buy a property on the track, you could. Right now, from this, you have no idea. So anyways, right now, all you can do is send yourself an email reminder. I'm not going to do that. It's just an automatic thing. You push this button and it sends you an email. So that's pretty much what's happening with the information. And now, as a track owner, I have the ability to enter the private code early. Let's say instead of being, right now it's 3:43, if I were to, if it was, let's say, either 6 o'clock or 5:55 or even 6:05 or whatever, and I've set an alarm on my phone to remind me that I have created a race at this time, I would show up and I could either start it early. You saw what happens when it actually gets to the time. It automatically went to the current races. If I arrive early and want to create the lobby a little early, and the lobby, of course, won't start counting down until the second person enters the lobby. I can enter the private code early. It's now, obviously, it's 2 hours and 15 minutes early. So I'm going to create it now. I'm going to enter the private code. I don't know the private code because I haven't actually gone to Upland to create the race. I'm pretty sure everybody knows how that works, so I'm not going to show that at the moment, but I'm going to make up a code, and usually it's all letters, but sometimes it's numbers, and usually it's 8 characters long. I haven't limited, just in case Upland changes their mind. You don't have to put it in as capital letters, but if you were in Upland and you were to copy it, when you paste it in here, it will be capital letters. It doesn't matter either way. So I push the submit button, and now you'll see it's jumped over to the current races tab, and the private code now shows up here. It's still showing 4,000 UPX, S4 is the car class, and the private code. So now another player who isn't a track owner could come in and click on this and then copy the private code into memory, and then go to Upland, enter it into the private server entry field, join the race, and actually start the timer. So right now, since you've entered the private code, you should be looking at the Upland race lobby waiting for somebody to join. If you aren't doing that and the race starts, then obviously you're going to miss the start of the race. But you want to see when the second person joins so that you'll see when the timer starts. When the timer starts, you need to come back to this app and let everybody know that the timer has started. So what you would do then is come here and go start race, and now you'll see that it starts in 5 minutes. Obviously, it's gonna, it's not gonna be perfect for timing. It's gonna be close, but that's the theory, is that everybody wants to know roughly how much time have I got left to join the race. 5 minutes is plenty of time to, if you haven't even started Upland, let's say on your phone, to start the app, get into Upland, jump into the race, enter the code, and start waiting for the race to start. But again, you could either copy the private code, mentally, or copy it as memory, or however you're going to do it. If you're watching your phone and you're playing on your computer, you could just have your phone showing this and then enter it into the computer, however you want to do it. And like I said, it's very simple. There is no communication between Upland and my app, so everything has to be done manually by you. And so pretty much that's how it works. I'll run through an actual full thing in a second. But the other thing I just wanted to mention is that I'm going to switch to a player that's not a track owner. And now you can see that I don't have the start button, but I still have all the other features still. I also can't, there's no 3 buttons here, so I can't edit the race or start the race or delete the race. I can see upcoming races and current races, but that's it. So I'm going to delete this one again. Oops, I have to switch back to the other user. So at any time, if you decide that you don't want to race anymore, or let's say there's 6 players or 5 players in the race, including you, and you decide that that's all you want, and you push the start button, you could come back here and delete the race so that no one else will join. Once it's gone, then no one else can see that it's here. So basically, this is going to run through the entire process. I'm going to go upcoming and create a race. One thing I was going to show is that you can just create a race immediately if you want to. Let's say you're going to run 6 races tonight, and the first one you had said in the future races starts today at, right now it's 3:48, so let's say it starts at 3:50. And you create a race that yesterday or the day before, you created a race that you said would run at 3:50 today, and that time arrives, and now you're going to run 6 more events. So what you would do is, instead of creating more future races, you would just create current races. And you're going to choose the track, and let's go Howard Beach this time. This time we're going to use Series T, and this one's going to be 6,000 UPX. And then the private code, of course, because you're creating the race now, you will actually go to Upland, create the race, and come back here and enter the private code again. And like I said before, it's 8 characters. Okay, so now it's not showing up in the upcoming, it's actually showing up in the created or current races. And same as before, you can copy the private code. The people who were in the last race might go, oh, I'd like to race in the next one. So they just jump back to the app, come into here, copy the new private code, and go back to Upland and continue in the next race. Another thing that you could do is, once the number of, let's say the last 6 players from the, or 5 players from the previous race want to join in the next one, and they do, and they join in within, let's say, a minute, and now you've got 5 minutes counting down. what the problem is that the timer is going to be sitting here showing everybody that there's time to go when there isn't, because you will have already started the race. And again, you could come back in here and delete the race. And so that's kind of just a thing that you could do on a courtesy side, I guess. If the race is full, just come in and delete the race. We're going to create a race in the future. It's an upcoming race. We're going to choose Tokyo Drift. We're going to choose the Series 4 because I actually have a Series 4 vehicle. The entry fee is going to be 10,000, or actually it's not. It's going to be, let's say it's 5 UPX because I don't want to waste money. I'm actually going to run the race, and I think as a single player I will get all of my UPX back, but I'm not going to, try it and not find out it doesn't work. So I'm going to start the race at just a few minutes from now. So right now it's 3:52. I'm going to start the race at 3:54 and submit. Now all I have to do is remember 5 UPX, 5 UPX and S4 at Tokyo Drift. So because the race is coming up really quickly, I'm going to jump to Upland. We're going to create the race right away. I am pretending that I am a track owner. So we got to go to Racing Alpha, then Interactive Racing, and now we're going to jump to a track. I said we're doing Tokyo Drift, so I'll enter that. I'm going to view the track and I'm going to create the race. I'm going to allow AI opponents so that I'll actually have someone to race against. As I was saying, when you are the only person in the race, and you're racing against AI, I believe you win all of the entry fee because AI opponents don't have accounts. You can't give them UPX. This is going to be a private server. Everything that you do through my app, you should be checking the private server button. You don't want it to be a public race because that basically just ends up with the same problem of people joining the race without knowing what car that you want everybody to drive. You could do a karts only in my app or a stock car only. Those two things already exist in Upland, and the reason why you would use my app is again because you can set a future race. You can't set future races in Upland at the moment, but you could limit people to one of those two different vehicles. So anyways, private server, allow AI opponents. The entry fee I said was 5 UPX, and that's what I'm going to enter. I'm going to use the Series 4 vehicle, which is what I said I was going to use. And I'm going to use my favorite Block Explorer, which is not on the list at the moment. There he is. And I'm going to confirm that I want to spend the 5 UPX. And this is the private code that I need to copy. I can either copy it here or I can copy it once the lobby is created. It's the same code. It's also up here. And as you'll see, the waiting for players is going to stay waiting for players. The timer will never ever start until either I push the start button and then the screen just disappears, or the second racer enters the lobby. So right now I'm going to jump back to my app because I'm the race owner, the race creator, the track owner. I'm going to jump back to my app, and I've already created the race. It's now in the current races instead of the upcoming because the time has arrived. It was created 2 minutes ago, now 3 minutes ago. And as you can see, there is no private code here. Other people won't be able to join because I haven't entered the private code. I'm going to enter the private code and submit it, and now you can see that the private code has appeared. As another player, I could come in here, copy the private code, go to Upland, enter it, and I would be the second person in the race, and the race would start running, which right now it's obviously not. All I can do now is, let's pretend that I don't have anybody to do this with, but let's pretend that the one other thing I was going to say, when I enter the private code, the race timer resets to 60 minutes. That's just to give people an understanding of it, now I have entered the code, you can now join the race. Once I have the private code and someone joins the lobby and the lobby counter starts counting down, and like I said, I think it's 5 minutes. If it's not, I'll change this. I then come back to my app, start the race, and it goes to 5 minutes so that anyone else that comes in now can see, oh, I've got 5 minutes to join this race. And pretty much that's what's going to happen. So that's kind of the end of this. There is no more details, other than using it, and I'm going to do my best to let every track owner know that this exists, that this app exists, and point them to the video that I'm making right now. But that's pretty much it. Thanks for watching.